You've probably seen some videos online where builders go into a property that they've done some work in, they haven't been paid, and they start smashing the place up, just like this video here.
When the customer refuses to pay.
Now, from this point onwards, it's a little bit vague because the camera is a little bit all over the place, filming someone walking outside of the house, into the van, and then they disappear. But the odd thing, in case you didn't notice, if we wind back all the way to the beginning, is that this was posted on TikTok by an account called Smooth Finish Plastering. No guesses as to what they do. And if you look in the background there, it very much looks like that's what they've done in this room. They've plastered the walls. Now, as the video suggests at the outset, when the customer doesn't pay. So it suggests that they haven't been paid, and so they've come in to smash the room up. If we go frame by frame on this video, you can see that this chap here being filmed, you can see in his hands he's got this step ladder, and he smashes it into the ceiling because it looks like the ceiling's been plastered as well. It's not even dry if you look to the back there. So it's still in the drying out process. Now, I'm no expert on plastering, but that takes at least 2 to 3 days to properly dry out until it goes that light pink color as opposed to the darker color. Those in the comments will provide some information, surely, as to exactly how this dries out, this process. But if we carry on, you can see that this step ladder is being used to smash against the walls. And you can see here, if we freeze frame, you can see these holes in the wall there that are being caused by this stepladder. Now, the question often arises, is this legal? Is it okay? Is it allowed? Is there any law that provides that these builders can come in, dismantle, smash up, remove, or destroy any kind of building work, extension work, or any other kind of work that they've done on the property when they haven't been paid? Now, there's a very narrow exception which I'll explain, but in short, the answer is no. A builder cannot just come in and smash things up, dismantle things, and take them away. Usually, when they've been subsumed into the property in one form or another, they become part of the property. And so this is a very straightforward criminal damage. The very slight narrow exception is where they are not there as a trespasser and there's equipment in there, materials in there that have not yet been used, not yet subsumed into the building, and the builder takes them with him. Because it can't be theft if they haven't been paid for it because they still own it. And ideally, within the contract, and you should always get contracts for these kind of things, most of the building contract disputes that we see are those where there is no written contract. It is very difficult to argue these things when there is no written contract. You rely on what intentions were behind it and email correspondence and all sorts of stuff. So depending on what it says in the contract and when title passes of the goods, it is usually going to be when they've been paid for, and unless they've been subsumed into the property, which makes it more difficult. But if they came in not as a trespasser and took something from the property that they say that belongs to them because it hasn't yet been paid for, that might well be okay. However, the vast majority of the time when there's a dispute between these people, they will be coming in probably as a trespasser, because if there's a dispute between them, I very much doubt the house owner is going to say, yes, come on in, let's have a chat about it. Maybe they will, maybe they won't. If they don't let them come in, then they'll be there as a trespasser. Any kind of damage thereafter makes it aggravated trespass in addition to criminal damage. Builders coming in to dismantle and destroy and take down property is going to be criminal damage. They can't do that. What can they do, looking at the builder's perspective? Because there are, as this video suggests, always two sides to a story. On the one hand, the customer may not be paying for something because they say it's not up to standard, etc. Hard to tell that from this video. On the other hand, the builder will say, well, it's perfectly fine, you need to pay for it. And the builders will often say, well, they smash it up because they can sue them and go through the process and never get the money anyway, because it turns out that the people didn't have the money in the first place, or certainly don't have the money by the time it goes to court, and then they get a judgment and the people just don't pay. But there are certain other things that they can do. There are various enforcement methods. Once they have a judgment in hand, which if they do get a judgment for straightforward non-payment, or let's say there's an argument over some of the quality, the court makes a reduction for some of the lacking in quality that's supposed to be there. But ultimately, let's say that the builder gets a judgment for X amount of thousands of pounds. They then have a number of different enforcement options. They can, if the customer was employed, seek an attachment to earnings to repay the judgment debt. They can get a court order to order that the customer is to attend court, to furnish the court with details of bank accounts, incoming, outgoings, and be questioned by the court officers as to why the debt hasn't been paid, the judgment debt, that is. They could also seek a third-party debt order in the instance that they have the bank details of the customer, and if there's sufficient funds in there. The customer can challenge that as a judgment debtor, can challenge it to say that they wouldn't have enough funds to live on and that sort of thing. It's called a hardship argument. Alternatively, in some cases, once the builder would have a judgment against the customer, they could seek a charging order over the property, usually when it's for a substantial amount and the builder wants to secure that amount of money. They could get a charging order over the property. All of this they have to go to court for, obviously. But if they get a charging order over the property, that means that if or whenever that property is sold, this debt would have to be cleared before it's complete. In some instances as well, the builders could ask the court for an order for sale. There are obviously criteria for which you'd need to seek legal advice, but there are criteria that they could ask the court for an order for sale. So unless the debt is satisfied, the customer might then be ordered by the court to sell the property in order to satisfy this debt with the charge against it. So there are a number of different options that can happen, but none of which should be criminal damage by coming to smash up the building work, any extension work, or anything of that nature. So a lot of people have asked this in various comment sections, both here and over on TikTok. So hopefully that answers the question, gives you some idea of what might happen next. And what these builders might do if they want to chase down those debts. If you are a customer or a builder in this situation, get in touch with my firm. We do many of these types of cases. The contact details are in the description below. It's the clerk's address for formal inquiries and any other address for any other inquiry. So clerks for formal requests. And just as a brief word at the end of this video, I'd like to say a huge thank you to all of you that have popped over to Black Belt Secrets, my sister channel where I give you my personal thoughts and views on a great many things. There's a lot more to come over there, so please do pop over and subscribe. We are just about to tip over 100,000 subscribers. I remember the very first day I got 100,000 on this channel. It was the day we brought home the Black Belt Floof, who also has her own channel, by the way. That is, I don't know if that's linked in the description below or not, but you'll find it. If you look up Black Belt Floof, you'll see days that we take her to the park and go walking and vlogging and talking and whatever. So if you'd like to hear more from her, well, not hear more from her, see more of her, you know what I mean, pop over and subscribe there as well. But do check out Black Belt Secrets. You'll get my personal thoughts over there, a little bit less formal than it is on this channel. I enjoy sharing those thoughts with you. But in the meantime, thank you for watching this one.